Silver just crashed 14% in a single day. Gold only 2%. Same day, same market. And nobody on mainstream media can explain why. Actually, that is a lie. I can explain exactly why. And when you hear it, you're going to be furious. Silver hit $117.75, the highest price in human history, and then out of nowhere it crashed to $12. If you watched my last video, you already know why this happened. I showed you the exact textbook pattern that was forming. I told you this crash was coming, and it played out exactly as I predicted. If you have not watched that video, go watch it after this one. Now, everyone is asking the same question. Is the silver bull market over? Did we just see the final blow off top? I'm going to give you my honest answer, and then I am going to show you evidence that will change how you see this entire situation. Short answer, no. The bull market is not over. But here is what scares me. What happened yesterday was not normal. This is not regular. Volatility, and if you do not understand what is really going on, you're going to get shaken out right before the biggest move happens. Stay until the end of this video. I am going to tell you exactly what I think happens to silver in the next 30 days, specific price targets, what I am personally doing with my own money, no hedging, no maybe this or maybe that. Real talk. Welcome to the hidden economy. If you want to understand what is really happening while mainstream media feeds you garbage, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Drop Silver Rush in the comments if you are ready to see the truth. Let me show you what actually happened because the numbers are insane. Silver just swung nearly $2 trillion of market cap in 14 hours. Between 9:00 a.m. Eastern and 1:00 p.m. Eastern, silver added $500 billion of market cap in 4 hours. That is roughly 1/3 of Bitcoin's entire value added in a single morning. Then between 1 p.m. and 4:30 p.m., silver lost $950 billion, almost $1 trillion gone in 3.5 hours. Then between 4:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m., silver added back $500 billion, up $500 billion, down $950 billion, up $500 billion in 14 hours. Silver is moving money equal to all of Bitcoin's value in just a few hours. This is a big moment that people will talk about for many years. That part is true, but no one has clearly explained why it is happening. I already did in my last video. Go watch it if you have not. But today I want to answer a different question. The question everyone is asking, is this the end? And to answer that, I need to tell you a story. Maybe you've heard of it. But it is important to discuss to understand the whole situation. A story about two brothers from Texas who saw exactly what we are seeing today. 45 years ago, 1980, Nelson and William Hunt, billionaires, oil money, smart money, they looked at America and saw what most people refused to see. Inflation was destroying the dollar. The currency was dying, and they believed the only safe place for their wealth was silver. So they started buying. At their peak, they controlled over 100 million ounces, more than most countries. And it worked. Silver went from $6 to $50 in months. The Hunt brothers were about to become the richest men in the world. Then one phone call changed everything. The COMEX, the exchange where silver trades, changed the rules overnight. They implemented something called Silver Rule 7. This rule said you could sell silver, but you could not buy. You could sell, but you could not buy. What happens to any market where everyone can only sell? It collapses. Silver crashed from $50 to under $11 in weeks. The Hunt brothers lost everything. Now look at what happened yesterday. Silver hit all-time highs, and then with zero news, zero catalyst, it crashed 14% in hours while gold only dropped 2%. Same pattern, different decade. But here is what is different this time, and this is what the mainstream media will never tell you. Everyone is saying silver is overvalued at $100. Rick Rule is saying it. CNBC is saying it. Every pundit on financial TV is saying it. Overvalued compared to what? Let me show you something that broke my brain when I first saw it. In 1980, silver hit $50. That was the all-time high before this year. But $50 in 1980 is not the same as $50 today. The government measures inflation using CPI. But here's the dirty secret. In the 80s and 90s, they changed how they calculate CPI. They made adjustments that conveniently made inflation look lower than it actually is. There's a website called Shadow Stats that calculates inflation using the old methodology, the way the government measured inflation before they started manipulating the numbers. Using real inflation, the $50 high in 1980 equals $1,739 today. Let me say that again, $1,739. Silver's at $110 right now. That means silver needs to rise another 2,500% just to equal its 1980 high in real terms, 1,500% from here. And people are telling you it is overvalued. Go to shadowstats.com. Look it up yourself. Do not trust me. Verify it. When you see those numbers, everything changes. Now let me show you something else, because if this were really the top, we would be seeing certain signs, and we are not seeing any of them. Here is how you identify a real blow-off top, a real end of a bull market. First, you see euphoric sentiment. Everyone is bullish. Your Uber driver is giving you silver tips. CNBC is running 24-hour coverage. There are lines outside coin shops. People are quitting their jobs to trade silver. Is that happening? No. What I see is disbelief everywhere. I see people calling the top. I see traders trying to short every bounce. I see mainstream media screaming that it is over. That is not how tops work. That is how middles work. Second, you see massive retail participation. In a true mania, money floods into ETFs. Silver ETFs like SLV and PSLV should be exploding with inflows. What is actually happening? ETF participation is weak. Flows are modest. The public is not in this trade yet. Third, you see mining stocks going parabolic. In every precious metals bull market, the miners leverage the move. If silver doubles, miners should triple or quadruple. Junior miners should go up 10x. What is happening? Mining stocks have barely kept pace with silver itself. Some are actually underperforming. The speculative mania has not even started. Fourth, you see the fundamentals weakening. At real tops, the reasons for the bull market start to fade. What is happening with fundamentals? They're getting stronger. Central banks bought more gold last year than any year in modern history. Silver demand has exceeded supply for 4 consecutive years. The deficit is growing, not shrinking. Industrial demand is exploding because of solar panels and EVs. Every single indicator says early to mid-cycle, not the top. Not exhaustion, not the end. But here's where it gets really interesting. Here's the part that should make you pay very close attention. Look at what silver is trading for around the world right now. In China, physical silver is trading at $132 per ounce. Japan, $140. Middle East, $128. The COMEX paper price, $110. There's a $20 to $30 gap between what real physical silver costs around the world and what the paper market says. What does that tell you? It tells you the paper market is lying. It tells you that people who actually want physical silver are paying massive premiums to get it. It tells you that the manipulation is reaching its limits. In 1980, the Hunt brothers had nowhere else to go when COMEX changed the rules. COMEX was the only game in town. Today, Chinese buyers do not care about COMEX rules. Indian families buying silver for weddings do not care about COMEX rules. Middle Eastern investors do not care about COMEX rules. The world has changed. The paper market can manipulate prices all they want, but the physical market is telling the truth, and eventually, always the physical market wins. This is why I do not think the bull market is over. Let me take a breath here. Tell you something funny because this gets intense and we all need a moment. Last week, my barber asked me about silver. This guy has cut my hair for 6 years, never once talked about investing. Thinks a stock is something you make soup with. He goes, "Hey, I saw silver hit 100 bucks. Should I buy some?" And I just started laughing, not at him, at the situation. Because you know what? He is asking the right question. A barber is asking the right question while half of Wall Street is trying to short silver. Sometimes the smartest money is not smart at all. It is just regular people who can see what is obvious. All right, back to business. Now let me tell you about the manipulation, because you need to understand who you are up against. The major banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, CK. These institutions have massive short positions in silver, billions of dollars betting silver goes down. This is not conspiracy. In 2020, JP Morgan paid $920 million to the Justice Department for manipulating precious metals markets. That is public record. Google JP Morgan Precious Metals Manipulation Settlement. Verify it yourself. Now think about what happens when you have a massive short position and silver starts running. Every dollar higher costs you hundreds of millions. If silver keeps running, you face forced liquidation. You have to close your shorts at any price. So, what do? You flood the market with sell orders, millions of ounces in seconds. You trigger the algorithms. The bots see massive selling. They start selling. Retail traders see the crash. They panic sell. Then you cancel your sell orders. You never wanted to actually sell. You just wanted to create the cascade. Now you buy at the bottom. You just covered your shorts $15 cheaper. Is it legal? Almost impossible to prove. Is it ethical? You decide. But here is the key point. Manipulation can delay a move. It cannot stop fundamentals forever. Think about it like this. Trying to suppress silver right now is like trying to hold back a tsunami with a paper wall. You might slow it down for a second. You might make people think you're winning. But when it breaks through, and it always breaks through, it destroys everything in its path. That is what is happening right now. They are holding up their paper wall and the tsunami is building behind it. Silver supply has been in deficit for 4 years. We are consuming more than we mine. Every solar panel needs silver. Every electric vehicle needs silver. Every smartphone, every laptop, every server, and every data center. And we are running out of easy silver to find. It takes 7 to 10 years to bring a new silver mine into production. Even if silver went to $500 tomorrow, significant new supply would not hit the market for a decade. This is not speculation. This is basic supply and demand. And supply and demand always wins in the end. Let me tell you about 3 types of people watching this video right now. The skeptic. You have heard about silver for years. Every time nothing happened. Bitcoin did 100x while silver went sideways. You think this is another false start? And honestly, I respect that skepticism. The believer, you have been stacking silver for a decade. Everyone called you crazy. Now you're finally profitable, but you're terrified they will smash it again. You have seen the rug pulls before the newcomer. You just heard about silver because it hit the news. You have no position. You do not know if you missed it or if there is still time. Here's what I want to tell all 3 of you. The evidence says this is not the top. Every indicator I track says we are early to mid-cycle. The fundamentals are strengthening, not weakening. The physical market is paying huge premiums over paper. Central banks are buying gold at record levels. Does that mean silver goes straight up? Absolutely not. We could see another 20% correction tomorrow. 50% even. That is how bull markets work. They shake out weak hands. They make you question everything. Then they go higher than anyone expected. Now, here is what I promised. What do I think happens in the next 30 days? I'm not going to hedge. I'm going to tell you what I actually believe. Next 2 weeks, extreme volatility, $10 swings in single days. The big players need to cover their shorts. They need scared sellers. They're going to try everything to shake people out. Late February, we make another run at 120. If we break through and hold above 120 for more than a few days, the next target is 150. End of year, I think we see $200 silver before December, maybe higher if the dollar weakens significantly. What am I personally doing? I'm not selling, period. I'm holding through the volatility on big dips. I am adding small amounts, money I can afford to lose, money that can sit for years if needed. I'm not leveraged. I'm not trading futures. I'm not trying to catch every swing. I'm positioned, and I am patient. That is my approach. Yours should fit your situation. Now, let me give you the other side because I would not be honest if I did not. Could this blow up? Yes. In 1980, silver crashed 90% after hitting $50. It took over 40 years to recover. If you bought the top, you waited 4 decades to break even. That is real. That happened. Could they change the rules again? Yes. If they implement position limits, raise margins, restrict trading, they could crash this tomorrow. They have done it before. Could I be completely wrong? Yes, I have been wrong before. I will be wrong again. This is not financial advice. This is one person's analysis based on the evidence I see. Your money, your decision. But here is what I believe. The bull market is not over. The real move has not even started. We are seeing early to mid-cycle behavior, not exhaustion. The fundamentals are stronger than ever. The physical market is paying premiums the paper market cannot explain. And the 14% crash we just saw, that was not the market telling us it is over. That was the big players trying desperately to cover their shorts before this thing gets away from them. If you watched my previous video, you know I predicted this exact move. I showed you the pattern. I explained why it would happen, and it happened. Now I am telling you what I think comes next. Screenshot this video. Save it. Come back in 6 months. Let us see who was right. 5 years from now, you're going to remember January 2026. You're going to remember silver at $110. You're going to remember the crash, the fear, the people screaming that it was over. and you are either going to be grateful you paid attention or you are going to wish you had. Is the silver bull market over? A traditional gas car uses maybe half an ounce. As the world goes electric, silver demand from automotive alone is going to multiply several times over. Every smartphone has about a third of a gram of silver. Every laptop has a few grams. Every tablet, every smartwatch, every pair of wireless earbuds. How many of these devices get sold every year? Billions, literally billions. Every server in every data center needs silver. Every piece of medical equipment, every water purification system, every electrical contact and switch, every missile and military system. Silver is in over 10,000 industrial applications. That is not an exaggeration. 10,000 documented uses. Because silver is the best conductor of electricity known to man, the best reflector of light, one of the best thermal conductors, and it has antimicrobial properties. There is no replacement that works as well. Scientists have been trying to find substitutes for decades. They have failed. Silver is simply the best. And here's the critical point. All of this silver gets consumed. It does not sit in a vault like gold. It gets dispersed in tiny amounts across billions of products around the world. When you throw away your old iPhone, that silver is gone. When a solar panel fails after 25 years, that silver is gone. When a car gets crushed, most of that silver is gone. It does not get recycled. The amounts are too small. It costs more to recover than it is worth, so it just disappears into landfills and waste streams. Unlike gold, which is almost entirely recycled and preserved throughout human history, silver vanishes into the global economy, used up forever. This is why supply deficits matter so much more for silver than for almost any other commodity. We are drawing down inventories that took decades to build, and we are not replenishing them. The Silver Institute, the leading authority on silver supply and demand, says we have been in a structural deficit for 4 consecutive years. Demand exceeds supply every single year, and the gap is growing. Now, some people say, well, if prices rise, miners will just produce more. Supply will increase to meet demand. Basic economics. That is true for most commodities. It is not true for silver. Silver mining is not like manufacturing. You cannot flip a switch and make more silver. First, you have to find a deposit. That takes years of exploration, thousands of drill holes, geological analysis. Most exploration projects fail. Maybe 1 in 1,000 actually becomes a producing mine. Then you have to prove the deposit is economically viable. More drilling, feasibility studies, environmental assessments, metallurgical testing that takes more years. Then you need permits. In most jurisdictions, permitting takes 5 to 10 years. Environmental reviews, community consultations, legal challenges, government approvals. Every step takes time. Then you have to build the mine, clear the land, build roads and infrastructure, install processing facilities, train workers, commission equipment, test everything from discovery to first production. You are looking at 7 to 15 years minimum, and that assumes everything goes smoothly, which it never does. So even if silver went to $500 tomorrow, significant new supply would not hit the market until the mid-2030s at the earliest. And here's the other thing most people do not realize. There are very few primary silver mines in the world, mines that exist specifically to produce silver. About 70% of all silver production comes as a byproduct of other mining. Copper mines, zinc mines, lead mines, gold mines. These operations are not optimizing for silver. They are mining whatever the primary metal is, and silver just happens to come out as a bonus. If copper prices crash, copper mines reduce production or shut down. Silver supply falls as a result. Even if silver prices are rising, this is a completely different dynamic than most commodities. Silver supply is largely inelastic. It does not respond quickly or directly to silver prices. And that means when demand outstrips supply, prices can move a lot more than people expect. Let me add one more piece to this puzzle. Central banks. Last year, central banks around the world bought more gold than any year in recorded history, over 1,000 tons. Massive, unprecedented accumulation. Why would central banks be buying gold at record levels? These are not speculators. These are not retail traders. These are the institutions that manage national monetary reserves. The people who understand the global financial system better than anyone. They are buying gold because they see something coming. They are diversifying away from dollars. They are preparing for a world where the current monetary system might look very different. China has been buying gold every single month for years. Russia has been stockpiling. India, Turkey, Poland, Singapore. Even countries you would not expect are quietly accumulating. When central banks buy gold, it tells you something. It tells you the smartest, most informed players in the world are hedging against the current system, and when gold rises, silver historically follows, often with higher percentage gains because of its smaller market and more volatile nature. This is not about conspiracy theories. This is about following what the most powerful financial players in the world are actually doing, not what they say. What they do and what they are doing is accumulating hard assets at the fastest pace in modern history. Now, let me tell you about a concept called wealth transfer because this is what is really at stake, and I need you to pay very close attention here right now as you watch this video. Wealth is moving silently, invisibly from people who do not understand what is happening to people who do. The question is not whether this transfer is happening. It is happening. The question is, which side of that transfer are you going to be on? Throughout history, periods of monetary instability have created massive transfers of wealth from those who did not see it coming to those who did. In Germany in the 1920s, people who held paper currency lost everything. People who held hard assets became wealthy. In America, in the 1970s, people who held dollars saw their purchasing power collapse. People who held gold and silver saw their wealth multiply. Every time there's a major monetary disruption, wealth moves, from the unprepared to the prepared, from those holding the wrong assets to those holding the right ones. I believe we are in the early stages of another such period. The signs are everywhere. Record government debt, sticky inflation, dollarization movements, central bank gold buying, geopolitical fragmentation. I'm not saying the system is going to collapse tomorrow. I'm not saying the dollar is going to zero. What I am saying is that the probabilities favor having some exposure to hard assets like silver. If I am wrong and everything's fine, you own some silver. It has held value for 5,000 years. It is not going to zero. If I am right and we are entering a period of monetary instability, having silver could be one of the best financial decisions you ever make. That is the asymmetry I am looking at. Limited downside, potentially massive upside. Let me come back to the main question. Is the silver bull market over? Based on everything I have shown you today, the inflation-adjusted analysis showing silver at 110 versus the real high of over 1,600, the supply deficits that have persisted for 4 years, the industrial demand that keeps growing, the physical premiums around the world, the weak ETF participation, the absence of euphoric sentiment, the fundamentals that keep strengthening. Based on all of that, my answer is no. The bull market is not over. We are early to mid-cycle, not late cycle. But I want to be very clear about something. This is not going to be easy. The volatility we saw this week, the 14% crash while gold only fell 2%, that is going to happen again, probably multiple times. The big players are not going to give up without a fight. They are going to slam the price. They are going to trigger stop losses. They're going to shake out as many weak hands as they can. That is how they operate. That is how they have always operated. The question is whether you are going to let them shake you out. If you understand the fundamentals, if you understand why you own silver, if you are sized appropriately and not over-leveraged, you can hold through the volatility. You can even add on the dips. But if you are gambling with money, you cannot afford to lose if you are leveraged to the hilt. If you do not actually understand why you own silver, you're going to panic sell at the worst possible time. You are going to be the exit liquidity for the big players. Do not be that person. Position appropriately, understand your thesis, and then have the conviction to stick with it. Screenshot this video, save it, come back in 6 months, come back in a year. Let us see who was right. 5 years from now, you're going to remember January 2026. You're going to remember silver at $110. You're going to remember the crash, the fear, the media screaming that it was over. And you are either going to be grateful you paid attention or you're going to wish you had. Is the silver bull market over? No. But you have to pay attention because this is not normal. Drop Silver Rush in the comments if this opened your eyes. Send this to one person who needs to see it. Just one person you care about who has no idea what is happening in the silver market right now. Subscribe if you want the truth, not the mainstream narrative, the truth about what is really happening in the financial system. You may join the channel for the member special video coming very soon. I'm working hard on it. The hidden economy, because the real story is never on the surface. I will see you in the next one. Saints save it. Come back in 6 months. Let us see who was right. 5 years from now, you're going to remember January 2026. You're going to remember silver at $110. You're going to remember the crash, the fear, the people screaming that it was over, and you are either going to be grateful you paid attention or you are going to wish you had. Is the silver bull market over?